SoFi is a stock that's in a unique position for a couple of reasons. One being it was pre-profitable since it IPO'd, right, in 2021. So it doesn't even really have a full 5 years as a public company. But in this time frame, it was not profitable. We can see it bounced up a little bit, and then it was down basically since early 2022. And then as of more recent, it's gone on a big run. And it's in a unique spot because it's transitioning from a company that is pre-profitable to now starting to turn a profit, although barely any. So things like PE ratio is not really that useful for what we're looking at. But today we're going to look at SoFi and dive into, is this worth it? Is this a stock that you should invest in? And I think it really depends on what you're looking for. We're going to dive into that in a little bit, right? So what I was saying is you can't really look at PE. We can see it's just now turning a profit. It's projected to be more profitable next year, but still this is a company that shouldn't really be judged on its profitability level. Now, it's a great thing that it is turning a profit because that means at the very least this probably isn't a company that's at risk of going bankrupt. The scariest thing about companies that are pre-profitable is that they rely completely on investment, because if there's no investment in it and they literally can't turn profit, they go bankrupt. SoFi now no longer has that issue, but at the same time, they're still mostly trying to just generate more revenue. And we can see they've done a pretty good job at that. 2021, they had very, very little revenue at all. 117% increase, 165% increase, and 23% increase on revenue. That is good. Clearly, I mean, they were going from a company that had almost nothing to a lot, so it's hard to say, oh yeah, this is sustainable, because it's not. But if they can consistently hit somewhere in that near 20% of revenue growth, that's very, very good. Clearly, we see a large increase in earnings per share as well, but I'm really not too worried about that. So the main thing we're looking at is revenue growth, and I think, in my understanding, I don't know 100% on this company, but it seems like SoFi is taking the right steps to continue to grow revenue wise. It seems like they're offering their high yield savings accounts was incredibly competitive, some of the best in the entire country. You would see recommended for personal finance to open high yield savings with SoFi often because it was so competitive, over 5%. That's clearly dropped now since rates are dropping, but still they're doing advertising, which is fine. It seems like they're doing what you would want a company that's not quite profitable yet to do, and that is just continue to invest into their business, right? Just grow it and grow it and grow it and grow it. And that is what you'd want. So personally for me, a company like SoFi, although it's gone on this decent run, I can't tell you if this is a good investment. I'll never tell you, hey, invest in this, because this is not investment advice. This is my own personal opinions. But for me, I think SoFi is a long-term hold because, I mean, they'll increase revenue and that'll help too, but they probably aren't going to try to generate profit, and that's really what drives a lot of share price. And now, I could be completely wrong, but if I was investing in SoFi, I wouldn't really expect a return for a number of years, maybe 2 to 3 to 4 or 5 years, but you could still expect at the end of it to do pretty well, I would guess. That's what you're hoping for. Now, there's clearly some sentiment that isn't super great around it, right? Schwab doesn't like it, at least they think it's overpriced right now, 97. So basically they give it one of the worst ratings they could, but Schwab has given ratings around this for companies I like sometimes, so that doesn't necessarily mean it's terrible. Morningstar gives it 3, economic moat none. Yeah, that is one thing, is there's a lot of big players in this game, there's lots of competition, that sort of stuff, so that makes it difficult. You got hold, long, hold, and then ESG stuff is one of the lowers I've seen, but I don't know. I'm not super concerned about this stuff. If you want to read up on the company itself, but it just does a lot of personal banking. Also, personal banking is tough. It is. So, but they're trying to, I don't know, they're doing some good stuff with it. I think you can get loans and stuff from them. So they're more than just a personal bank, but Wells Fargo hasn't done particularly well. A lot of the banks and financial institutions that have done particularly well are those that side more on the investment. So Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, those have done particularly well recently. I love Morgan Stanley. I've shilled for them multiple times on this channel. I'm a big fan of them. Let's take a look at this. This is one of the most useless ones I've ever looked at here because there's not much here. All right, somewhere in the 80 to 32 for PE. This probably is a little bit exaggerated as well. I wouldn't look too much into that. What do analysts have to say? One thing that's nice, they're beating EPS. They've been beating on this pretty soundly. That's pretty good. Most of the analysts are saying hold, and then actually gives many saying sell or underperform as buy. So it sounds like to me, and I would need to do a lot more research to just dramatically say this right, but it seems to me that at this price it's probably slightly overvalued. However, if you're holding long term, you just want to hold it, forget about it. I think over the long term, SoFi is positioning themselves well to do well in the long term, generate long term profit, right? Long term return to shareholders. It doesn't look like they're particularly cheap right now. It's hard to tell when they're still, like I said, going profitable, but it seems like the sentiment, hey, this is a little bit overpriced. But like I said, in the long term, you should do fine. There's a lot of hype around the stock. It's not particularly large, so it's easier to move it, that sort of thing. Also, I don't know. It really depends on what you're looking for. I don't hate this stock at all. I actually considered buying it around these levels. It's clearly almost twice as expensive now. A lot of these large institutions, like Schwab and analysts, do not like it when stocks run up so dramatically, so quickly. Over the last 6 months, it's up 120%. That's going to scare a lot of the big names off from saying, hey, buy this. So I think you could do well, even in the short term. I don't think it's going to do great in like the next 3 months or so, but I could be wrong. I like this as a long-term hold, although I like most things like that, so maybe that's not crazy significant. I think SoFi does a good job at they're positioning themselves well to just continue to grow the business. But I think I've said most of what I want to on the stock. Maybe I didn't cover everything, but I appreciate all of you for watching. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.